Hello cool people, Deadshot here to share the third part of the Persona 3 Portable No Damage run. Now this run will be covering from November till the end of the game, and just because this one has the most story involved in it, if you get recommended this video, you never played Persona 3 Portable, or at the very least you plan on playing Persona 3 Portable, or any Persona game for that matter, well, Persona 3 game, please either go to the first part of the video or just go leave and play the game yourself. I don't take offense to it. I understand you not wanting to get spoiled, but that was your warning, and please enjoy the rest of the run. And soon we encounter our first full moon event. Now this full moon event is very interesting because we have two different boss fights during it. The first one with Takia and Jin Shirado is actually not that hard. Takia spends a lot of his time mind charging, and most often they mind charge and Torikaja on their first turns just to get set up. But then on the second turn, Takia can use any element and could just click Megiddo. Jin can use insta-kill skills and his default attack is fire. But overall, not too hard. It only takes me 2 tries as I don't have my strategy entirely set in stone on the first one. But in the second one, I easily take them down. Next on up, we have a boss with the Arcana Hanged Man. Now, all of the statues only have 250 health, which means I can easily take them down with Megiddo on my first turn. And then after I Megiddo all of them to kill all of them, we get into the actual boss with 5,500 health. Now, he only uses physical attacks, so if I use a attack mirror and, well, a magic mirror, but that wasn't necessary, I could easily just prevent him from doing any damage and just try to get as many damage into him using Femsi and all out attacks to easily take out this fight. Both these fights, not a struggle at all, but hey, 2 full moon fights, different strategies, and hey, I mean, the Hanged Man fight, if it was done a little better, like the statues have a little bit more health, probably could have actually been decently challenging. After the full moon event, Faros says his goodbyes to you. I really liked him as a character, but rank 10 comes, it's story based, and after November 4th, you don't get to see him anymore. Although, oh, spoiler alert, you do get to see him again. It actually took me a while to realize the entire connection, but yeah, obviously Faros is Ryogi just in his sealed form, but cool character, and now he's gone. Just felt like putting it out in the video. Soon Itsuki shows his true colors. He starts preaching mysteriously and talking about the fall and how the person 10 years ago before him failing, this of course being Yukari's father. As he talks more and more about the fall and his savior and the prince, we start to realize something. He is batshit crazy, and of course that means we must try to stop him. We then discover who Aigis' true creator is, Itsuki, as he uses Aigis to knock us out. When we awake, we are put upon crosses, and are basically hopeless until Mitsuru's father comes in. Now, unfortunately, he isn't able to completely stop Itsuki, as they both pull guns on each other and shoot. Realizing Itsuki, once he realizes that Aigis won't even save him in this moment, decides that he knows that even if he isn't the one to cast the fall, someone will do his bidding, and he jumps off of Tidorus, killing himself. This point in the story marks a huge change of events. A lot of characters start to learn the truth about what happened in their pasts, mainly Yukari and all the events surrounding her father's death, as well as all of us being focused on one goal, preventing the fall. No longer are we the group dedicated to just destroying shadows. We have changed. We are the group dedicated to destroying the fall. Thus, the full social link ends, and soon another one will begin. On 11-2, Junpei and Chidori have a conflict and we end up having to battle her, but this is... I don't even understand why this is a boss fight. I mean, I literally one-shot her. It's a joke. Afterwards, Strega comes to back Chidori up. Chidori actually has a really heartfelt moment here. I kind of, felt it pretty well. The fact that she talks about the fact that, you make me scared. Even though I know that, I know when I'm going to die, I know everything that's going to happen to me, but for the first moment in my life, you made me scared. It's, well, spoilers don't matter at this point, because if you're here, you should have seen the entire story. It really reminds me of Aigis' character arc in a way. Now, obviously, she's not a robot, but she is similar to that in the terms of her emotions. After Takaya shoots Junpei, Chidori gives up her life in order to save him. And honestly, Jesus Christ, man. Like, I had no idea when I first played this game that someone would go from one side to the other. So this really, like, damn. Like, it... Persona 3 has some amazing writing, some amazing plot too. It really confuses. Like, I understand the gameplay in this game's like a little bit mid. You know, let's getting into my thoughts during this no damage run, but I think the characters here are beautiful. Like, the story at least is amazing. Like, God, I really wish another Persona game was dark like this one, because it would really make a difference to like how it feels to play the next game coming up, Persona 6. But story stuff aside, 1129 is up next, and that is where we will make our next Tartarus infiltration. Our first boss up is Justice Sword. Now right now our three major elements are Almighty, Ice, and Electric. This boss is absorb Electric, so we take it out using Ice. I don't even need to explain Stasis Giant. This next boss is only really one you would understand if you played Portable, because in FES this boss only has 2500 health and 57 magic, and yes, it does have Mind Charge Megiddo, which could kind of hurt in FES, but on Portable it has an extra 20 magic, an extra 2000 health, and Sharp Student. And while the only thing that it nulls are the insta-kill skills, it does take less damage from everything in the game besides Slash. So this boss can actually be kind of a run killer if it just decides to click Megiddo. Although fortunately for my run it doesn't do that at all, so I completely avoided a extremely hard battle without even knowing it at all. So yeah, it's one to watch out for sure though. Next boss up is the Royal Dancer. Now there may be 3 of them, but they only have strike and pierce damage as well as a bunch of different ways to inflict ailments, so they're actually not the hardest thing. Only 1500 health, but unfortunately, thanks to just unluckiness, I do have to reset a couple times, right? But eventually we do get the run where we just take them all out. At this point I had gathered my 10 rubies to get the Megalodon skill card, so we leave the Tartarus just to buy that and a couple other items that we can end up grinding a little bit once we enter Tartarus again. And then the next day afterwards we re-enter it with the Megalodon skill card now on Mothman. This next boss up is a rough one. I mean, it can literally only take damage from Physical and Almighty. And guess what? Physical is just about useless to me because the only physical attack I have is my default one. This is why we left the dungeon to get Megalodon, because without it, I don't even know if this fight could actually be possible, which is kind of difficult for me to say this late in the run. Like, yeah, this fight might have been possible. Anyways, it has 3900 health, which is a ton, especially considering that it is Megiddo and Megalodon, which means it can just hit me and I have to pray to God that I avoid it or it just doesn't use those, which is very hard to do. So this run, this boss ends up actually taking a couple tries, which is kind of surprised. I was surprised it took that little. Like, this felt like a roadblock when I first encountered it, but eventually we got there. With the 4 boss rush down, because this area just has a ton of bosses for some reason, we then move on to what I've been doing in the background. Now yes, I did a lot of grinding in this section in order to get a Shiva with Victory Cry, since it's one of the earliest personas in the game that can learn it. Now it's not like early, it's like level 90 or something that it learns it, but anyways, I end up fusing off the Shiva into a Satan, which we'll be using as our main single damage Almighty persona, since it has the highest single damage Almighty skill in the game, Black Viper, which will help a ton for just doing good single target damage. This one doesn't matter too much. It'll help for a couple boss fights because it doesn't do more than Thunder Rain, but it always hits. So it's got some nice advantages, nice flaws as well. So it's just a really good move. We learned the unfortunate truth about Ryogi during this full moon event. He absorbed the 12 shadows that Aigis tried to stop him from doing and is now forced to be the martyr to create Nyx. And soon we will be given a choice with him, but for now we just learned a little bit about him. Now, as he remains alive, he will forever be the one that creates the being known as Nyx, which is made to wipe out all of humanity, and is actually brought on by humanity's own wish. Of course, we're going to stop this, but for now, we can't do anything, and we move on to our next game event. The moment we enter Tartarus, we end up fusing Khalil. Now, Khalil is very cool because it already has a 99 in magic the moment I fuse it, and it has a skill called Morning Star. Morning Star is insane, as it does more damage than Megidoleon, which is quite crazy. Although, unfortunately, it can't be fused down to other personas, because that would be very useful to have on a persona with a little bit better resistances than it. But Khalil for now is just more than fine, and I'm going to be abusing Morning Star a ton to just one-shot a ton of bosses and mini-bosses and enemies and whatever coming up. An important thing that I will be doing during this time frame, if you look at the 100% guide, it gives you a ton of free time, and I will be using almost all of that to make as many Armageddons and Infinities as possible. Armageddon literally does the damage cap, so of course that's absolutely amazing, like especially for being literally free if you have the item. And then Infinity, which makes your entire party immune to damage for one turn. But of course, fusion spells can only be cast on your main characters, so you don't get turns on your main character. But having your whole party not being at risk of taking damage for a whole turn, I mean, you just essentially gain 3 free turns. So we're going to need a ton of both. Armageddon, not so much. If you're doing this run yourself, you might only need like 3 Armageddon, 1 for Reaper, 1 for final boss. Maybe 2, but for the final boss fight, you definitely need more than that in Infinities. Alright, the next one is kind of hard to explain without these lists. So I figured out that if I maxed out the Empress, Hermit, Devil, and Priestess social link, then I would be able to get a completely Repel Everything Beelzebub. Because this gives Empress Ultimate Persona has every single Repel physical skill. Hermit gives me, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not entirely sure, but if you just do these fusions and level them up and get all the Repel skills, just keep in mind you need a Repel Strike, a Repel Pierce, maybe a Repel Bash. You don't entirely do that. Repel or no Fire, Repel or no Ice, and then Repel or no Bless. Now, it's not, I'm going to be honest, it's not Repel Everything. That's really hard to do, but it is at least Null Everything. So I ended up making a Beelzebub with Makara Karn, which is just magic mirrors, but as a skill, so I don't have to waste items. I can just use SP for it. As well as I have Mind Charge. So, like, if I ever meet an enemy that either, even if it does have an Almighty skill, if it just has the chance of using other skills, I can swap to my Beelzebub and get sometimes just a free magic Mind Charge, which will make a lot of boss fights so much easier, especially if you can do them solo FemC, because now the only bosses that are even like any risk are going to be bosses that just have Almighty. And there are a couple coming up, and most bosses actually have Almighty in the late game, which is where we are right now, but the ones that don't become a breeze. And even if they do, it still can help for those because they just might not use the right skill. The first boss we end up encountering shows our Beelzebub very well, where they only have elemental skills, so we can Mind Charge and they try to hit us and fail, and then we use our newly acquired Morning Star and its highest potential Almighty every 1 damage and just one-shot them both. Alright, all these next bosses are actually the last bosses in the entire run, and they are not a struggle at all, so I'm just going to have a quick montage of me just easily wiping them all out.
Okay, guys.
It's so weird to see an SMT fan not play optimally.
So weird to see an SMT fan not play. Well, you know, SMT fans will do anything for Jack Frost.
What?
I don't mean that like... I just mean SMT fans are big Jack Frost fans.
It's okay, I am too.
Nah, bro, I
annoying
swear.
To me since it's an almighty damaging skill.
Very important, guys.
Okay, Raccoonda. Nice. think Odin just
Dude,
kills her.
Makoto is doing his Koromaru impression.
Oh. Oh my god. I just did fucking 4,500 damage to that boss. I win.
Shisha!
Yes, there we go. Markunda. Nice. Reed, Satan. White Viper.
My friend got kicked out of Walmart.
How?
We was with a bunch of friends, so they probably were like,
Nope.
nope.
Alright, well, that was a lot easier than I thought. And now next up, we have two battles against Strega, starting with the first boss fight against Jin.
Enough talk. Let's do this. This is it.
I have no idea how this boss fight is gonna go.
I cannot lose. Here.
I've improved since our last fight. This is the end of the line for me.
What do you mean hide weaknesses? Okay. That... Yeah. Happened.
I summon you.
Oh.
No, I ain't.
Fire.
No.
I won't lose.
Okay, don't use the Almighty. That's what I'm worried about. I do have a full party
It's my turn.
speed up. No, not. Yeah.
I summon you.
Damn it.
Take this.
Go to hell.
Is that gonna kill him? He has every element. Why is he only using fucking ice? Whatever. Get ratioed.
You're all so powerful.
Now with the Jin boss fight completed, all we have left before Nyx is the Takaya boss fight.
I cannot lose.
We are mere mortals.
After completing Jin and Takaya, the only thing left in this game is Nyx. Now, I could do Nyx right now, but I actually wanted to grind up to 99, obviously, for all of my party members beforehand, because I really needed that extra damage in order to make the Nyx fight much easier. Although, honestly, with the Infinity strategy I end up going with, you really don't need this too much, but it is nice anyway. But in order to officially grind to 99, one of the first requirements is to defeat Reaper. Reaper is a very high stat boss that's a very high level. I think maybe even a higher level than Nyx. I don't know. Someone can fact check that if they want to. But regardless, it is a tough boss fight, especially if you're trying to complete it without taking damage.
No, you can't defeat.
So,
Run!
it's a little old to bring this up, but the whole joke about Mitsuru using Baron Karen and then missing, is that true? Did she do that?
It's an
Only
FES
one
thing.
enemy left.
Because in portable you can take control.
Here's our
So when
chance.
she has free will, she stops.
If you say so, I won't miss.
She likes ailments. Ailments in this game are good, but they're just like hard to know how to use them, kind of. Is the way I would describe it. Not a lot of people know how to use them correctly.
I like the stylistic cut-ins of Persona 5 a little more than Persona 3. Age doesn't really mean much for the game.
Yeah, it kind of does. This game had a release cycle of 2 years. Persona 5 had a release cycle of 6. That's what a lot of it comes down to.
Played it for so long.
Well, I mean, because they did a lot of gameplay shit.
Right.
Finish it up.
Kick him in the balls. Does the Reaper even have balls?
He really likes to get rid of resistances for some reason.
That's completely fucking useless when one hit. Oh yeah. I mean, getting rid of resistances is useless, but getting rid of
Immunities.
no.
He's getting rid of my immunities is what I meant.
Yeah. I honestly slept on the break skills on my first run.
Well,
I didn't think they were too good, and then I regretted it later in the game.
you think he... I probably should.
Someone made a mod
Yes.
where you could use the Reaper as a persona.
Let's fucking go. 0 damage Reaper. That is wild.
Great.
After beating Reaper, we grind all of our party members that we're going to use for the fight up to level 99, and then we start the final battle with Nyx. I had to. Infinity.
The mix keeps changing.
To find the one true.
This is, I think, during this phase, the strategy. should pay attention. Here I know I've had 3 final streams. It's one of the everything faces. And also, die! Die again. Die again. Hang is revealed. Also, on the elements.
Not entrusted yet the art beyond the matter.
Even after defeating Nyx in battle, our efforts end up not entirely successful, as Nyx is still able to fuse with the moon and cause it to come towards the Earth. Without our interference, the moon will crash into the Earth and kill all life on Earth. We have a moment where we remember all the struggles and hardships and all the friends we made along the way, and then we pull our new arcana, the universe. We use this arcana to face Nyx and cast Great Seal, which unfortunately is completely unavoidable and is, well, not our first, but definitely an unavoidable instance of damage in this run. It uses all of your health and there's nothing you can do about it because it's vital to the story. So, can you beat Persona 3 Portable without taking damage? No, you can't. But, you know, we sure did try our best. Aigis talks to us about successfully fulfilling our promise to meet with everybody in the rooftop, stating that, you know, despite everyone's memories being lost when Tartarus is destroyed, she still ends up remembering, and everyone else does too. But they remember everything, including us using Great Seal, which, keep in mind, used all of our health, which means even though we were slugging along and staying alive, we aren't able to keep up with it anymore. And we die in Aigis' lap, ending my Persona 3 Portable no damage run. And it's kind of poetic. A whole run built around never taking damage. How does it end? By me dying. Just to die.
You have the power friendship. You have the power friendship.
No, because I took damage and died.
Don't
So that's
worry.
kind of not epic.
I'll always protect you.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Honestly, without all of your guys' support, I'm not sure if I would have had completed this run already. Or at least it would have taken like forever. But thanks to everyone's just like being there, it gave me so much motivation to just keep working and working through the run. And I mean, hey, it's done, and I have even more planned for the future. So, you know, if you stuck around this long, you might as well subscribe and see it through. Anyways. Thank you all. It really means a ton for all of you to like just be around, and I can work so hard and know that no matter what happens, that someone will be there to watch my videos and support me, and it means so much. So, thank you all for, I can't express it and how it feels to be like this, because, went from a nobody doing a challenge run in a Persona server to, someone that actually means something because of my dumb, crazy run. And, of course, there's going to be more for the future. So, I'll see you all next time. I should hopefully... I'll give you a deadline. I'm going to try to get the first part of the next video up by before March starts. We'll see how that goes. Because, whatever. Anyways, see you all next time.